storytelling, and political critique. And here is our speaker for today. Cartoonist Zach is a cartoonist, illustrator, and satirist in our country, sharing his talent and skills through relatable memes and inspirational illustrations about journalism and social media. He was the vice president of the Kila Philippine Collective for Modern Heroism Cebu Collective. Recently, he is concluded in the European Cartoon Award longlist representing the Philippines. He was also featured for his notable contribution to the Quills Award-winning documentary during the iDocumento National Documentary Making Contest that placed ninth over 34 entries, and intentionally, his works are featured in Le Monde, Courier International, and France 24. He also co-moderates the public art community chat on the Rappler Art. A member of the Cartoonists for Peace whose main goal is to spread awareness about relevant issues through humor and press cartoons. He was engaged in giving speeches, workshops, and TV guesting. He is also a judge in editorial cartooning and attended the celebration of the National Press Freedom Day in Nueva Ecija with our editor-in-chief, Archie Bergosa. Cartoonist Zach's dedication and his impressive skills and talents in combining satire, journalism stories, and drawings to inspire and make the audience more attached to the field of journalism. Everyone, isa pong palakpakan para kay Cartoonist Zach. Good morning po.
Good morning. Grabe naman yun. Mas nakakaano yun ng imposter syndrome. Kasi thank you so much John Philip Morales for that introduction. A very good morning. Di ko na-expect na wow, over 1,000 pala tayo na mga students, SPAs, and also campus journey ng mga enthusiasts. So really thankful for this opportunity. Actually, pangalawang beses ko na yata. I think pangalawang beses ko na makapag opportunity to be in an explained na talk. So share yung screen. Okay. So yung topic natin ngayon is tungkol sa visual storytelling in political critique. So tandaan natin na mas nag-focus yung talk natin sa visual storytelling more than yung sa editorial cartooning itself. Advertise ko lang, promote ko lang yung talk ni Jassel G. Saison. Yung talk niya is gonna be more on yung technicalities, yung tips on how to make editorial cartoons bukas, 6:10 p.m. But my talk will touch on cartooning, but it's gonna be more on doon sa political critique. So, ayun. Actually, I started drawing when I was 4 years old. I just remembered parati akong pinapagalitan ng mother ko kasi nagdodrawing ako kahit saan. Kasi yung inalakihan ko na anime or manga character si Son Goku. So, and then tapos discover ako ng teacher ko na nagdo-drawing ako ng grade 1. Kasi isa sa mga tallest person, so andun ako sa likod. And then di ako nakikinig minsan sa mga discussion sa nagdo-drawing ako. So, pero eventually parang ginamit ako ng teacher ko to draw visual aids, di ba? Yung pa-drawing sa blackboard. Siguro nakaka-relate naman yung mga cartoonists dito. And then ako na yung pinapasalang sa mga poster making contest ng elementary. So familiar kayo doon sa Earth na may dalawang kamay. Been there and done that. And then nakasali tayo ng mga press con. I've been joining, actually, sa totoo lang, hindi editorial cartooning yung unang sinalihan ko. I joined first yung editorial writing category noong grade 6. And then I won for some reason. Although, hindi, I was not really parang galing to win. Pero for some reason, I won 5th in the SPC. And then, nung high school, doon lang talaga ako ng editorial cartooning. We were fortunate enough na naging part ako ng student publication and nakasali kami ng student publication even though our school was a science high school. So during my stint as cartoonist, so I won the SPC 3 times. Nakapag-champion na rin representing, and then nakapag-represent tayo ng Region 7, Central Visayas. So kaway-kaway sa mga Central Visayas dito, mga taga Cebu, sa National Schools Press Conference noong 2011 sa Butuan City. Pero actually parang kami lang yata ni Miss Jackie yung hindi NSPC winner dito. Issue. So, pero even though OLATs ako sa and then di ako naging NSPC winner, that didn't stop me to pursue my passion. So remember, hindi lang sa NSPC umiikot yung yung buhay natin as a campus journalist. So there's still life. I mean, you could still do way more even though hindi ka nakaabot ng NSPC. Kaya since it's really been harder to join NSPC kasi one na lang per representative yung pinapasali. And then, ganito yung styles ko noon. Actually, nagbo-ballpen ako. And then, I also tried yung watercolor. Kasi idol ko talaga doon si Rene Aranda. So, rest in peace ng Philippine Star. And then, nung college ako, actually, USC scholar ako, and then physics yung course ko. Pero hindi siya naging hadlang to continue my passion sa pagdodrawing. Sumali ako as illustrator, and then head illustrator, and then eventually associate editor for external affairs for Tulis Carolinian. Yan yung official student publication ng University of San Carlos. Noong time na yon parang experiment siya kasi napapansin niyo sa mga previous ko. Nag-start talaga ako as traditional artist. So ballpen lang tapos watercolor yung alam ko. So yung ginawa ko is like kinombine ko yung traditional and digital. So nil-drawing ako, skinascan ko siya, and then ayun, parang ini-edit ko siya doon sa Photoshop. So makita niyo dito sa mga posters, traditional na may digital enhancement. And then I had a chance to create a cover. Itong sa screen, itong nasa bottom left. Itong cover. Yung patungkol doon sa EJK. And then I've been part of Tulis Carolinian for more than 8 years. And then nag-start akong mag-venture outside student publication. So familiar kayo sa kung familiar kayo sa Assortage, in which there are many members of Explain din, na member din ng Assortage. Isa din ako sa mga yung mga unang naging member ng Assortage, and then naging active ako yung sa pag-share ng kaalaman tungkol sa campus journalism outside Cebu nung pumunta kami sa Cotabato to teach cartooning together with Manila-based na um, mga campus journalist na NSPC winner. And then, in the present, I've been a cartoonist for CBCP Monitor. Ito yung national publication ng Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines. It publishes twice a month. So, regular din ako nag-contribute. And then siguro ito yung pinaka-memorable kasi a day after yung sa election noong 2022, na-publish yung cartoon ko. As a member of Cartooning for Peace, we had the privilege to publish our works. Na-publish yung cartoon ko sa front page ng Le Monde. Ito yung pinakamalaking newspaper sa France. Maganda sa kanila because meron silang pagpapahalaga on editorial cartoons kasi pinapublish nila yung cartoons doon sa front page. So you could see, di ba, na compare dito sa Pinas, medyo sila. And then okay din yung yung pay dun sa cartoons. So also publish din tayo sa Courrier International, into another newspaper magazine sa France. Ito yung nung pandemic, yung usong-uso pa yung disinformation. And then nakapag-briefly contribute tayo doon sa San Sir Bacolod for 2 months. And then at the present, ako yung isa sa mga cartoon contributor for the Salongguhit section ng Bulatlat. Ito yung independent na media outfit. And then since I also join or organize cartoon exhibitions. So ito yung isa sa mga latest na cartoon exhibitions where I also curate about cartoons on press freedom, democracy, because of disinformation. This one is held, ito yung last day ngayon sa University of the Philippines, Cebu. So nag-stage kami ng exhibition for 2 months. This was also held in Manila. So ayun, this was sponsored by the French Embassy. And then just recently, na-select yung cartoon ko bilang long list ng European Cartoon Award. This was held in Netherlands. And nakapagpunta tayo sa Netherlands actually last month. And ayun, nakita ko yung artwork ko na na-exhibit doon sa Central Library ng The Hague. So sa The Hague actually, andun din yung ICC. So yung International Criminal Court. So ayun. And then ayun, so punta na tayo doon sa main discussion. Nakita natin na yung sa mainstream newspaper, unting-unting lumiliit yung espasyo ng editorial cartoons. So ito yung newspaper galing sa Inquirer na malaki pa yung space and medyo pa sila. Parang okay pa doon yung ang pinapakita pa yung politicians, like parang obvious naman na ito si Duterte. And then habang parang nag-worsen yung state ng press freedom kasi doon sa mga blatant attacks ng previous administration, and then mas grabe na yung self-censorship ng mga newspapers, and then also mapapansin natin na parang pababa na yung print subscription. Yeah, kasi nangyari din yung pandemic at marami ding nabababad sa social media, di ba? Tayong mga chronically online, di ba? Na papansin natin na mas nagre-read tayo ng news sa social media kaysa sa bumili ng dyaryo. So, a few years later, noong 2020, naging half na. Naging size na yung paycheck. And napapansin natin na hindi na sila medyo nagsho-show ng mukha ng mga politician. And then, ayun, noong 2022, they decided to stop publishing cartoons. So, ito yung parang nangyayari sa maraming newspapers sa Philippines. It doesn't happen only in the Philippines, but also napapansin na yung pattern across different countries all over the world. Pero, yun, despite that, is naging marami na rin yung nagpa-publish ng mga cartoonists sa social media. These are also my colleagues in making cartoons. So aside from mine, cartoonist Zach, we have Isang Tasang Kape. Cartoonist Miel, si Steph B. Steph B, by the way, is she's yung the only and also first na woman na cartoonist sa isang national newspaper in Philippine Daily Inquirer. Pero yun, we have Angelo Lopez from US, Political Idiot and Latagaw from Cebu, Sats are from Quezon, Robbie Comics. He's also a doctor and also cartoonist at the same time. We have Balatan Sangin from La Union. And also we have Jacel Saison, in which makita niyo siya bukas for her talk in cartooning. She also publishes cartoon din as Just Kibler. Pero yun, nakita natin na yung Suno Publications ay isa sa mga last bastion ng editorial cartooning sa So, malaking role natin yung mga campus journalists in preserving the art of editorial cartooning. Masaya siya in a way na compared sa mga mainstream newspapers is napaka-prominent ng cartoons. Example sa mga winning na mga school papers. Example ito sa Nudo Veritas. Ito yung newspaper ito yata sa Region 10 sa Cagayan de Oro na incorporate yung cartoon, yung graphic art doon sa part ng yung student publication. So it's really different from yung mainstream na newspapers na puro text, puro photos, tapos may ads, di ba? And sa right, ito yung, I think, ito yung nanalo sa NSPC noong 2020. You can see like how prominent yung cartoons or graphic art doon sa front page. Kaya parang compared kasi sa mainstream na newspaper is parang at least merong space for creativity, may space to do to execute itong graphic art kasi wala tayong ads. So parang meron tayong money to publish and also hindi tayo pressured, di ba? Kasi sa mainstream na newspapers, yung bumubuhay is yung subscription. So and also yung ads. So they're more compelled to parang remove cartoons in order to favor for kasi yung cartoons kasi medyo direct, medyo nakaka-sting. So siya, parang hindi siya nakakatulong sa ads minsan kasi medyo strong yung meaning niya. So, and the point is Suno Publications are one of the last stands for editorial cartooning. So, alam niyo ba na yung cartoons kasi parang yun yung TikTok even before TikTok existed. Ito, napansin ko lang. Kasi, katulad ng TikTok, parang short siya and snappy. So, sa mundo ngayon na, uso yung, mas appealing yung short form na journalism, o yung short form na content. Even before nag-exist pa yung TikTok, nag-exist pa yung Facebook, or nag-exist pa yung mga short form na mga primers, is yung cartoons kasi parang siksik siya na siksik. From a complex ideas, yung complex ng mga essays, mga 300 words, parang siya, naka-compact mo siya sa isang editorial cartoon. And then, ayun, just a few seconds. And then, chug, alam mo na agad yung meaning. So, parang ganun din sa TikTok, di ba? Na pag-scroll down mo, na-entertain ka in just a few seconds. Napapansin nyo yun, di ba? And then, ayun, meron siyang way na, parang way na, ayun, nakaka-viral siya. So, oftentimes, yung cartoons ko, or Cartoons Zach on Facebook, minsan kasi hindi ko naman ini-aim na mag-viral, pero na-viral siya because aside from being short and snappy, yung content is nakaka-relate siya. And then, kasi gumagamit ako ng mga familiar na mga symbols, gumagamit ako ng humor, is mas nagiging memorable. Example, when you try to depict yung mga issues, and then inahalo mo siya ng humor, so mas tumatatak siya sa mga tao. And in a way, is parang nakaka-evoke siya ng emotion. So parang yung effect niya is, parang siyang viral na mabilis siyang makakalat. And it also helped if you're a student publication na parang if you want to establish your presence sa social media, yung cartoons kasi yung way din para mas umi-increase yung engagement. Yung core engagement that I'm talking about is that not necessarily yung general na audience mo, kundi kung sino yung immediate mo na audience. Yung immediate audience mo naman is yung sa school mo, yung sa mga students, teachers, and staff, or sa students itself, kasi student publication tayo, di ba? So, if you show cartoons na mas parang mas malapit sa kanila, yung mga school problems, ganon, if you create comics na with humor and something that nearest to them, parang nakaka-strengthen siya ng relationship between your student publication and the students that you are serving, di ba? And lastly, di ba, is kung sa TikTok is gumagamit ka ng videos, gumagamit ka ng text, you use different aspects ng visual storytelling. Sa cartooning is siya, parang gumagamit ka ng metaphor, different imageries, literary devices, yun yung way mo of storytelling. You use sometimes text, even without words, is nakakatawid siya ng message. And I think it nakaka-increase siya ng parang appreciation from your audience. Mas lalo kapag na-understand nila yung meaning. So, ayun, ito yung parang similarities between cartoons and also yung pagiging TikTok niya, TikTok-ish. So, ayun, promote ko lang yung TikTok ko, Cartoonist Zach. Andun din ako sa TikTok, so see you sa TikTok. Siguro visual storytelling, makita niyo man sa Google yan ano yung meaning. So, illustrate or show ko lang through a series of examples. So yung visual storytelling kasi marami siyang tools. Could use illustrations, cartoons, satirical puzzles, could be anything, something na you could see into a comic strip. So visual storytelling, ranges from well-worded, well-nuanced, and multi-paneled comic strip. Ang dami mong mga chorlalu, pwede mo siya isiksik, di ba? Into, just a very simple drawing. Simple lang siya na drawing. Actually, ginawa ko lang to for parang 5 minutes lang. Pero dinowing ko siya nung naalala niyo yung sa ramp doon sa overpass sa Maynila, tapos sobrang steep nung pababa. So nag-draw ako ng yung Pythagorean triangle. So ang daming range niya. Pwede mong maging maximalist ka. Ang dami mong mga nilalagay. Meron ding style na minimalist. Like ito sa right. And then, it could be a well-arranged and a SPC-worthy press con rule. Pina-follow mo na yung lahat ng tips ng ng judge mo nung elementary, nung high school, 'di ba? So andun na yun, 'di ba? Ano na yung lahat ng elements, and then just to weird mathematical meme. So minsan ayun, yun yung maganda pag after ng press con, di ka na sumasali ng press con, nung pupunta ka sa college, and then di mo na iniisip yung constraints ng ano yung dapat yung winning cartoon. So I try to do experiments, sometimes do science humor, and I don't know, just think about mga weird things. I do experiment most of the time, and masaya naman minsan kasi kinakagat din siya ng audience, and masaya naman kasi marami din nakakaintindi and also nakaka-relate. So I do that. And it also becomes part of my own style. Parang it separates you, iba. Kasi ayun, yun yung problem. Palaging tinatanong sa mga cartoonists or me during workshops and talks is that how to establish your own style. So I think establishing your own style, it doesn't happen overnight. It really happens, after years of drawing, researching, failures, success. So it's really a long way ahead. So when people say that you need to keep on drawing, you need to keep on drawing. I know it's something of a cliche, pero it's actually ineffective. You just need to keep on drawing to find your own design or your own style. So I think as with the many cartoon talks I've been doing, in-emphasize ko talaga na parang it takes drawing skill, di ba? Kasi nga pinipili ka ng teachers mo kasi, di ba, magaling ka mong drawing. Pero it's just more than that. You need to know about how to create idea and message. Kasi yun yung pinaka-core, di ba? So, kung sa dalawa, mas matimbang yung idea. Kasi, as what I said many times, di ba? Ano yung silbi ng aesthetics o yung kaganda yung cartoon mo if people wouldn't understand your message? But I think instead of separating yung drawing skill mo tapos idea, I feel that they should be parang collaborate together, di ba? Kasi kung hindi naman maganda din yung drawing mo or hindi clear, what is yung pinaka bare minimum na kahit hindi siya ganun ka bongga yung drawing, at least yung drawing mo is clear enough. Clear enough for the viewers to bridge between the elements of your cartoon, eventually understand and also process their reaction on your artwork. Ganun talaga. So they should work together. Okay. Yung purpose kasi, parang yung purpose kasi ng cartoons is yung first, di ba? Ma-increase yung political awareness mo. So you show yung political issues or issues doon sa social issue, environment issue, could be sports, So I think ito yung pinaka-core na role is parang educational siya na tool. It also helps in increasing awareness. Okay, think siya ng So, next is, ayun, it gives tribute, di ba? Nagtitribute siya. Whether it's for celebrations, like itong sa left, for then sa people power, knowing ko siya. And then, pag may namatay, di ba? Pag may namatay na celebrity or may namatay na politician, sometimes you would do tributes or um, yung ginagawa niya before nawala siya as a way to give respect. And pag may nanalong, example, yung 2 days ago, di ba, yung nanalo yung Gilas. Or ito, dinowing ko noong Olympics, I do this. Mabilis ko siya na sketch. It was really memorable. Kasi parang kumpiyansa akong mananalo si Carlos Yulo. So, actually, nung nag-vault, nag-drawing na ako nun. And then, the moment he won, the moment he got the gold medal, ayun, doon ko siya na-publish. Nanalo siya ng gold. So, ito yung pinaka-core kung bakit andito ako ngayon. Andito ako ngayon kasi, di ba, pinifeature ko yung about critiquing. So, ito yung pinaka-core. Visual storytelling for political critiquing. So, iba-iba kasi yung kinikritik mo yung personalities, like celebrities, di ba? So makita niyo doon sa, di ba, maraming reactions nung merong isang celebrity na nag-endorse ng gambling, di ba? We have, of course, di ba, yung traditional talaga is sinasatirize natin or we make fun of politicians that are not doing their job, that are incompetent, di ba? And also with prominent people, yung mga businessman or iba. And we also criticize yung mga sistema, yung issue, at saka yung mga implemented laws. Yung how class suspensions are categorized. And we also do some projection or parang minsan pag merong sinusulong na bill, na example nung Maharlika, gano'n. And we make cartoons about ano mangyayari kung ipapasa itong Maharlika bill. Parang gano'n. So, we also not only criticize yung mga pinapairal na mga batas, kundi we also criticize yung mga pinopropose na mga measures or yung mga laws. So, yung critiquing kasi sa hindi siya parang hindi siya, for me, hindi siya madali. Kasi marami kang dapat na i-consider, 'di ba? Hindi ka lang basta nagpupuna, 'di ba? Remember na when you draw about this is kailangan meron kang checklist, 'di ba? Ino-observe mo yung yung sensitivities, ano yung mga dynamics, especially doon sa class dynamics. I-consider din natin 'yon. I-consider din natin yung sino yung o-offend. Of course, cartoons that criticize will inevitably offend people. Pero sino yung mga people na yan? So marami tayong dapat i-consider. Diba? So ito yung mga tips ko lang on how to observe, diba? So yung una is you have to stick to what you believe in. Ang ibig ko sabihin nito is that, diba, sa mundo ng social media, parang ini-aim natin minsan, we aim often na kung ano yung nagva-viral at saka ano yung hindi. Minsan, may iba na they would side on this certain issue kasi they know that people would sympathize you with it. In other words, you do clout chase. But I tell you, hindi siya worth it kasi that will really give you a backlash or magbo-backfire yan sa'yo. So you have to stick to what you believe in. In of course, kino-consider mo yon or ini-embed mo yung journalism ethics, yung pagsaside natin sa truth, 'di ba? At saka yung, 'di ba, yung pagmamahal natin sa democracy, of course, andun yun. Pero wag natin siya parang i-sway sa kung ano yung gusto ng mga tao, ano yung mga yung sa comment section. So, makita nyo dito, noong 2023, nag-drawing ako ng comics tungkol doon sa SIM registration bill. So, I showed dito sa comics na to, yung mga dangers ng SIM registration. Actually, parang naka-receive ako ng grabe yung backlash na yun. Kasi sinasabi, uy, design is very Pinoy, drama-drama muna. Tapos sinasabi na, nagsi-SIM registration, pero nagsishare ng data sa social media, ganon. Ang daming mga kuda. And then, many people na mga cartoonists, parang maraming takot. I mean, they would often be uncomfortable with posting something like this kasi, nakaka siya ng mental health, of course. I understand. I almost, parang take ako ng break noon after this one kasi ang dami talaga nag-bash doon sa social media tungkol sa ginagawa ko. And then, I could have changed my opinion or I could have, pero I really stick to what I believe in na wala talagang effect yung SIM registration. And then, after na-pass yung SIM registration in 2024, nag-drawing ako ng comics nito. Yung naglipa na yung mga scam. So nag-change na yung perception ng mga people na ang dami nang oy, tama ka pala, or parang ito yung comics ko na I told you so na na-realize lang, 'di ba, after noon effectivity na wala talagang silbi yung SIM registration. So talaga, parang just need to parang need to stick to what you believe or yung mo. Kasi that will, parang, your integrity as campus journalist or cartooner or visual creator, consistency doon sa, yung sa paniniwala mo. Important din yun. Pero, we need to normalize din, diba? I-normalize din natin. Kapag merong new information, merong bago, diba? But you need to be open to change, diba? You need to be open to yung mga new information. So, I drew this many years ago. Actually, parang in a way, I'm sorry, this is something controversial. Pero, ayun, at first kasi parang hindi ako sangayon doon sa divorce. Pero nung nakita ko yung side na ang dami nagsasuffer ng mga couples kasi hindi sila nakapag-divorce and then they settled with abusive na relationships. So na siya, parang nag-shape na yung ko na parang merong something mali dito. So we just need to check, di ba? And then, siguro as cartoonist, parang ramdam ko nafe-feel ko yun na once alam mo na talaga paano mag-cartoon, parang feeling mo na alam mo na yung lahat or alam mo na yung, pero we have that thing as adolescent people that sometimes we do pero mind you, even though I've been drawing cartoons for more than a decade already, I still consult with many people, consult with my peers, consult with my loved ones, if okay ba yung cartoon or hindi. So, we need to realize that as artists, di ba, that art is a continuous process. it's a lifelong commitment to hone your craft, whether you start at 15 years old or 7 or 45 or when if you're 80, any parang I think with enough privilege or with enough support from people or from the government or from the schools or the institutions, I believe that everyone can parang can draw and din siya na everyone is open to change, open to new styles, di ba? So makita niyo di ba na sa artworks ko, nag-iiba-iba yung style ko because I do explore many things. Also din, I think, di ba, as nagkikritik ka, kung nagkikritik ka, it means you are siding with one side. You are kumakampi ka sa isang side, di ba? So it's not considered critic if you say you just stay neutral, okay? Kaya nga sa cartoons ko, I try as much as possible. I stick with facts or I stick with. Pero I mean, it's tricky kasi when you say you side with facts, parang may kulang 'yun. Kasi sa facts kasi, parang yun yung hard truth. Pero from those hard facts or yung truths, it results to different opinions. For me, it's really fine to have different opinions as long as you are anchored doon sa mga facts. Okay lang yun. Yun yung meron kang ground, nakaapak yung dalawang paa mo doon sa facts. And that's how you create your opinion. If your opinion is really based doon sa disinformation or yung mga unverified na mga facts, well, your opinion is basically disinformation. It's really not an opinion anymore. So kita nyo dito na it's not a journalist's job to give equal time to both viewpoints. Pero you just give platform to a viewpoint that is supported by evidence. And as with other categories of journalism, dapat yung bias mo rin is dapat din on the truth. Yun ang importante. Next is of course, pag gumagawa ka ng cartoons is we do, di ba? What we do is to magsaside sa mga marginalized. Kasi I think yun yung dapat na role ng isang artist na hina-highlight mo yun. Ano yung human condition, di ba? Beyond the glamour of aggressive development, ano nangyayari sa mga residente, yung mga ordinary people, or mga yung mga magsasaka, ganun. Kasi, I mean, I believe the cartoonists are yun, parang meron siyang role for promoting yung human rights. Pero, siguro yung mga marginalized, di ba? Yung mga biktima ng drug war or yung mga yung drawing natin, ano yung perspective nila, ano yung mga nangyayari sa kanila. Pero not to the point na parang naro-romanticize. Example yung ginaglamorize natin yung example yung sinapit ng mga OFW, di ba? Parang di ba parang nakikringe tayo kung parang dinodrawing natin yung tungkol sa OFW, sila yung bagong bayani. Pero I mean, yeah, we appreciate them. Pero yun yung iniiwasan ko na parang kasi di ba, sobrang hirap kayang pumunta sa other countries. And eventually yung ultimate goal natin is to talaga, parang makauwi talaga ng people and also do some, di ba? Yun yung kasi di naman pinili na pumunta sa ibang bansa. And to add up yung homesickness, gano'n. So parang careful lang tayo minsan na hindi sila ma-romanticize yung poverty, gano'n. So lang talaga siya, tamang timpla. So also, as what I've been saying a while ago, na dapat yung receptive tayo doon sa mga kritisismo. Wag natin siyang kasi di ba? For me kasi, if you're a cartoonist who's been dealing with political critiquing, yung critiquing kasi it goes both ways. First is yung ikaw, nilalabas mo yung criticism mo, and also marunong ka rin mag-accept ng feedback. So, example nito, someone corrected me na yung most hardness scale is resistance sa pagkagasgas, hindi yung pagkakabasag. So, nagko-collide. So, okay naman. Parang ano naman ako, nag-sorry ako. So, okay lang. Kasi these criticisms are from real people or people who are just concerned about your artwork. So, in other words, hindi tayo perfect. And we always have to improve, for every artwork that we publish on newspaper and also with social media. Pero ayun ito yung cartoon na to is marami nagkritisi sa akin kasi hindi siya medyo maintindihan. Pero okay lang kasi doon sa ano mo, okay, I need to improve, I need to take note ano yung pwedeng gawin, ano yung pwedeng mas magawa ko pa, 'di ba? And then minsan medyo merong hindi ka nais-nais yung from the trolls, yung mga nagre-red tag sa'yo. So, I think what would you do is either you ignore it if the criticism is really not criticism anymore. Kasi these are really, ano lang, talaga. It doesn't really, it's not reasonable anymore. Parang tinitira lang just because you have different opinion. And these are not authentic accounts. Also then, you need to be very sensitive doon sa class dynamics. Mas ano natin, 'di ba? Na hindi natin aside from not romanticizing, we need to be sensitive doon sa ano yung upbringing o ano yung um, tawag dito. Ano yung um, ano yung dapat na okay, I think I can show this on the other side. Pero basta yung point ko lang is that um, hindi tayo dapat na nire-ridicule yung mga people of lesser power like us, 'di ba? No, ordinary citizen. Kasi yung ultimate goal talaga ng satire is taking accountability from the higher power more than us. Example yung mga public officials. Which bring us to this one na siguro pag gumagawa tayo ng mga political mga satire, siguro iwasan natin yung example yung pagre-ridicule sa mga voters like bobo sila or hindi sila marunong mag-vote or ganon or kasi parang parang hindi siya satirical. It's really more on bullying, 'di ba? Hindi siya parang maganda. Ito yung pagpa-punch down. So yung pagpa-punch up, ito yung magmamak or pagme-make fun doon sa mga higher power. Yung sinasabi ko kanina. So iwasan natin yung pagpa-punch down and we need to punch up doon sa mga cartoons natin. And then also observe din natin yung mga sensitivity. Ayun, medyo tayo careful tayo sa mga sa mga sensitive na mga imagery. Like example itong this is a hyperbole or exaggeration. So this one for me, idol ko si Rene Aranda. Pero minsan kasi parang nakaka-offend siya sa mga people who are struggling sa mga weights nila. Like me, 'di ba? Parang nati-trigger ako minsan na parang ginagamit siya as yung example yung mga disabilities or yung mga insecurities ng people is ginagamit siya as to make fun of example doon sa cartoon and also sa mga sa mga adolescent pregnancy is I think I would not draw this one na pinipicture yung mga bata as yung mga buntis o yung nagdadalang tao. For other cartoonists, they can do this one. Pero for me, it's not really not my cup of tea, di ba? So, iwasan din natin yung mga So, I mean, we need to strike on balance between ano yung nakaka-offend o ano yung um, of course, you have to offend, but but where do you draw the line? So, you have to draw a line whether saan yung pwede mong yung scope ng pag-criticize mo. And also din, iwasan natin yung humor doon sa mga trahedya, like sa mga bagyo. So nakita ko doon sa social media na parang yun, yung kasagsagan ng bagyong Pipito. So parang drawing sila ng mga, yun, Pipito, my friend, in reference to yung kay Pipito Manloloto. Pero for me, it's not something that you would go. Kasi meron, people are dying. And also, gumagamit ako ng mga pseudo characters. So, in reference doon sa pusit, 'di ba? Kasi 'di ba, parang ngayon sa Pilipinas, uso, 'di ba? Parang ongoing pa rin yung mga libel cases. Minsan pag dinodrawing mo yung isang tao, even though you didn't put the name, basta nagre-resemble siya doon sa politician, is parang ground siya ng libel minsan. So parang pag medyo strong yung issue, gumagamit ako ng mga pseudo characters, kundi parang yung mga imagery, 'di ba? Example, if you want to draw yung yung isang kaibigan natin, so gumagamit ako ng mga imagery like si Shrek, Piatos, Pusit, ganon. So you do that para lang parang you show the humor at the same time hindi ka diretso na i-depict mo yung certain na personality. So, yung paggamit ng pseudo characters, kailangan ka mag-anchor doon sa context, 'di ba? Context really matters kasi pag hindi alam ng mga tao yung reference, is that mafe-fail yung cartoon mo. Kasi di sila rin, sino ba to? So kailangan nagma-matter din yung context or naiintindihan man ng mga readers yung ano yung reference mo. Kailan alam sila. So yun yung caveat ng cartoons kasi your cartoons can be appreciated if your audience also know yung context behind it. Yan yung mo. So kailangan then na if you want to become parang cartoonist din na maraming nakaka-relate sa gawa mo, we have to be chronically online. Alam mo yung pulso ng mga tao. Aside from reading news, aside from reading yung anything na information na dapat updated ka rin doon sa mga issues. So updated ka rin doon sa mga yung mga yung kiliti ng mga tao din. So you have to be chronically online or ayun. Also, I use context clues. So aside from using characters, minsan sinushow ko lang yung isang portion ng mukha nila. So, example, I don't have to draw this whole alam niyo naman to sino to, di ba? Kasi maraming nakarelate na yung taong may malaking butas sa ilong. So, it's also a way din para din hindi makaiwas din sa mga na yung sa libel, for example. And then this one, alam naman natin yung may bigote na senador. You see Wonderful Tonight. So I use that one para and also then mas naka-appreciate siya sa audience kasi ito palang clue. Oh, alam ko to eh, parang ganyan. So it also creates mind games with your audience and mas na-appreciate nila yung ginagawa mo. And ayun, mas maganda if we go beyond the noise on social media and go deeper into more important issue. So, example, yung nangyari yung kay Alice Go na medyo nakakalungkot kasi mas nakikita ko sa mga example, mga security guards, yung mga people, yung mga parents ko, mga parang teka lang, parang ginagawa na yata itong source of entertainment. Yung naging serye na siya, naging, di ba? Parang imbes on delving on more important issues, yung mga seryoso, like these are really grabe na yung security, national security or for that one. Or na ano. So, for example, gumawa ko ng cartoon na ito. So, beyond the noise yung kay Alice Go, for example. Pero, nasa-show dito na alami pa rin mga Filipino na dami Pilipino na late registered sa birth. Until now, beyond 18, ang dami pa rin walang registered na mga people. So, we need to go beyond the smoke. And also, it's most appreciative, if you post cartoons or your artworks, di ba? Your artworks just a few minutes or just a few hours after lumabas yung issue. Kasi mas siya parang, ayun, hot siya ng issue. So, ang daming people that will share your artwork, di ba? And then, if you share a little bit late, parang napapani siya. Pero, that's your second priority or your third priority. Kasi yung priority natin is dapat hindi ma-compromise yung quality. And also, we need to be more collaborative with our editor-in-chiefs, with our head sa ating editorial staff, na dapat i-make sure na yung cartoons mo is parang walang problematic na elements that would probably lead you to legal consequences. So, kailangan careful lang tayo. So, kung mabilis ka mag-drawing and then mas ma-approve siya ng mabilis ng mga higher-ups mo, okay lang yun. So, dapat prioritize natin yung quality over quantity. Isipin natin yun. So, next is, yun, alamin natin. So, this is the second to last slide. We need to know when to attack and when not to attack. So, alamin natin na, hindi tayo, we're just humans. I mean, limited lang yung energy natin. So, we need to just be smart when tayo to criticize and when not to criticize. It's for me. And okay lang if people would disagree with your works kasi cartoons will always be the forums of discourse. So, it's okay if there are people who will disagree on your work. Ang importante, mapag-usapan yung issue. Yun yung mas important, siya, na nagiging platform siya ng discourse. So, ayun, thanks for listening. So I hope na namin yung natutunan with this time. And ayun. I hope na yan. So thanks for listening. And thank you so much, Explain, for this opportunity.
Thank you so much po, Cartoonist Zach, for the opportunity po. Meron po tayong isang tanong dito mula kay Bea. Mula kay Bea Alison Alimangohan. Question po, how can we encourage or motivate this generation to use cartooning in traditional newspaper and social media nowadays?
I mean, can you repeat the question? Nuance? Ano yung nuance sa end? Sorry.
Okay po. Question po, how can we encourage or motivate this generation to use cartooning in traditional newspaper and social media nowadays?
Encourage. Ano naman din, I mean, it's really something na parang andon na yun. I think it's gonna be on the cartoonist, if whether yung mga sa ating generation to use cartoons. Kasi I mean, it's tricky kasi andun na tayo sa TikTok generation. Parang people would rather want yung nagmo-move na mga graphics kaysa sa doon sa stable. So I think ang maganda kasi dito is innovation. We need to innovate then ano yung ng cartoon. Kaya hindi ko na show dito sa slide. Sometimes I would do some animated cartoons. So I do make cartoons about political issues na with a series of images na move siya. I think that would motivate the cartoons. Actually, parang sa traditional newspaper, parang it's really a lost cause kasi many newspapers would refuse to publish. Pero merong parang newspapers. I think yung role kasi in newspapers is that hopefully they would allot more space for submissions from student journalists. And it also parang yung mga talks like this, it helps the nowadays yung mga generation to publish, okay, ito yung pwede kong magawa as their way to show to show to exhibit or to show to the people what they really feel about certain issues. So, and thank you so much.
Okay po. Second question po is from Jerome Estrada. Ano daw po yung software na madalas niyong gamitin sa paggawa ng mga cartoons?
Ano yung thought process? So, I think it's gonna be more on si Jasil na magsabi niyan. Pero then again, mas siya pag if you're really well versed with the news or updated ka doon sa mga latest na nangyari kasi doon ka mag-gain ng inspiration. And then second is yung mga ano yung mga imagery na gagamitin mo. It really helps if you are really parang aware doon sa mga tools, yung mga symbols, yung mga literary devices na pwede mong magawa. So, yun yung parang prerequisite. So, yung thought process ko lang is simple. I just from the news or from the topic is I would think of ano yung opinion ko, ano yung take ko dito, di ba? As from the word editorial cartooning, it's really more on opinion in visual manner. So, yung opinion ko. And then from the opinion, I would have like certain words or certain characters na ma-incorporate ko from that opinion. And then from those characters na generate ko from the opinion, I would make them interact to one another doon sa cartoon ko in a way na maintindihan siya right away ng audience mo. So I think that's more Pero then again, each person will have their certain we have the unique style of conceptualizing cartoons, and that will madidiscover mo rin yan in the long run. What you only need to do is just to keep on drawing, just to have parang meron ka ng smoother na thought process in making cartoons. So thank you.
Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras, Cartoonist Zach. Sean. Grabe, marami tayong natutunan sa kanya ngayong araw na ito.
Totoo. Like, I didn't know yung ganong klaseng nuance na makikita natin in terms sa process ng cartooning. Lalo na ngayon coming from an expert himself na lagi kong nakikita yung cartoons online.
Tsaka tawag dito yung ganun pala yung yung pag-process nun dapat. So, ayun.
So, ayun, I'm sure na marami pong natutunan ang mga listeners natin ngayon sa inyong Cartoonist Zach. Maraming salamat po for your time. And Dipe, ano na nga bang next na gagawin natin after this?
Syempre kakain muna tayo. Magkakaroon muna tayo ng lunch break. Tapos, at mamaya sa pagbabalik natin, matutunghayan natin ang online publishing kasama ang ating editor-in-chief na si Archie Bergosa.
You know, si Kuya Archie pala.
Yes.
So guys, magkakaroon muna tayo ng lunch break at magbabalik tayo mamaya 12:30 p.m. So make sure na nakabalik na kayo 5 minutes before that para tuloy-tuloy ang ating discussion. So, and guys, thank you. See you.
Thank you po. See you. Stay tuned.